Grain Elevator and Processing Society is hosting their annual GEAPS Exchange Conference at the Kansas City Convention Center, February 22nd through the 25th of 2025. GEAPS Exchange is the biggest and best show in the grain industry with more than 400 exhibitors and 45 hours of education. It is the best place to find grain handling and processing operation solutions all in one place. GEAPS Exchange brings together industry professionals from across the world to help build professional networks and connect with the products you need. Come walk the trade show floor, take part in live demonstrations, innovation stations, and see new equipment. Make valuable connections through a variety of fun and exciting social events. Early bird pricing ends January 28th. Learn more and register at jeeps.com/exchange. IBT Industrial Solutions has been your expert and product support partner in the grain industry for over 75 years. They solve the hard problems that help keep your business running. As a one-stop shop for products and services ranging from motion amplification to conveying solutions, they also stock product inventory from over 1,200 suppliers available now at one of their 35 locations across the Midwest. Come visit them at the GEAPS Exchange or go to ibtcinc.com/grain. IBT Industrial Solutions, your trusted grain industry partner. Today's whole grain episode is 100% focused on the biggest and best show in the grain industry, GEAPS Exchange. It takes place February 25th through the 28th, 2023 in Kansas City. It's an exciting show as we bring into play 9 different voices to provide the support you need to get ready for the show. Our play-by-play commentators for this episode of Whole Grain will be led by GEAPS Staff. They'll describe the structure and detail of the event. In addition, 4 past attendees of GEAPS Exchange will provide the color commentary, adding their unique perspectives and tips. 2 of our special guests will bring a first-time attendee perspective to the conversation. You also hear from veteran attendees of GEAPS Exchange. It's an exciting annual event for grain industry professionals from around the world. Let's go. Hey everybody, welcome to the Whole Grain Show. My name is Jim Lenz, your host and director of training and education at GEAPS, where the mission of the Grain Elevator and Processing Society is about people and information and knowledge, and the mission of the industry is about fueling and feeding the world. Thanks for listening today and for joining the network of thousands of other grain handling and processing professionals across the globe taking strategic steps to grow professionally. The Whole Grain Show will give you the competitive advantage to win at work so you can make more of an impact. I encourage you to listen to this episode as an audio guide as you prepare for GEAPS Exchange, and then listen again to the episode during your travels to Kansas City in February. The podcast form makes the show so easily shareable. After listening, I'm confident you'll want to share this special message with others in your organization and network. GEAPS Exchange has such a long history of serving as an enormous positive experience for grain professionals. There is so much that is offered to you that you may not fully be aware of all that there is to take advantage of. We are thankful to our special contributors to today's show. April Hope Wareham is the continuous improvement specialist at Cargill. She attended her first exchange in 2022. Her previous attendance was to a virtual exchange in 2021. Chuck Vollmer also joins us. He is a producer and farmer from Lancaster, Kansas, with a cow-calf operation and grows corn and soybeans. He was a first-time attendee to GEAPS Exchange in 2022. April and Chuck add their fresh perspective. And we thank Steve Myers and Chuck Kunis for their contributions. As veteran attendees of Exchange, they'll add valuable tips and viewpoints of this special grain industry event. Steve Myers is an elevator superintendent at Bungie Milling. Steve is also a former GEAPS International president. Steve has attended 18 GEAPS Exchange events. And we're also excited to hear from Chuck Kunis. Chuck is the Corporate Safety Director and Specialty Soybean Manager for Michigan Agricultural Commodities. Chuck is the current Vice President of the GEAPS International Board. All right, we are so excited to bring to you this big show. Let's get you prepared for the big event.
GEAPS Exchange is the place where you go to see the future of the industry, right? It's not a place where you go to see yet another grain bin that looks exactly the same as all the ones that you've seen in your whole career, right? It's the place where you go to learn new things, to learn about new products. So there's always going to be that element of surprise, no matter if you have attended Exchange never or if you have attended Exchange every exchange for the last decade, right? So there's always that, always going to meet new people, always going to learn new things.
Joining us in today's show for GEAPS Staff will be Deb Most, Member and Chapter Manager, Betsy, Senior Project Manager. We have Brittany, Sales and Conference Manager, and Adrienne, Conference and Expo Director. Deb, Betsy, Brittany, and Adrienne, thank you for being part of the show.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, thanks for having us. Hi, happy to be here today to talk all things Exchange.
All right, I love it. Now, let's take our whole grain listeners through a sequential process and set of events for GEAPS Exchange. Deb, I'll start with you. If listeners have not signed up for the event, can you describe the process? Where do they go to sign up? What are the options also offered at sign up? I know there's various options there. And also, not only are GEAPS members invited, but non-members, grain professionals are, of course, invited. What are the cost differences? Can you speak on that a bit?
I will be happy to. We have a very simple process to register for the exchange. Simply go to geaps.com/exchange/register. We'll have that information in the show notes. When you get there, you'll have three options. Love to have you for the full conference. The full conference includes from Saturday night, you get a creative party, through to the expo and all the education sessions, and to the very end of the closing session and reception. So we would love to have you come and enjoy the conference the whole time and network. There's a price differential between members and non-members. Member rate is $395. The non-member rate is $625 before February 2nd. So we also want you to register early so you can get going and get that discount. Next, if you only have a day or maybe a day and a little more to come to the exchange, we have 1 day education and expo passes. These are more customized. You can pick a day you want to come to the education, but you're welcome to come to 3 days of the expo. So if you're coming in late one day or whatever, we know you are busy professionals. You're invited to attend the education the day you choose, and then the expo those other days. The cost for a member is $275. For a non-member, it's $525 before February 2nd. The final option is you just want to see the expo hall, which is an amazing experience in and of itself, and to network with vendors there. You can come in any day. It is $50 a day for a non-member and free for a member. And within the expo hall, we will have lunch included. So that is part of the every day we'll have lunch, part of the benefits. And this would be your chance to walk the show, meet the vendors, and that sort of thing.
You know, what's really interesting is just the incredible spectrum of individuals in the grain industry that attend. I'm guessing our listeners of Whole Grain are a bit curious. Could you share the spectrum of the types of grain professionals that attend? What are some of those roles that you see?
We have dozens of different roles that attend the exchange. We have CEOs, COOs, facility managers, director of operations, maintenance staff, safety managers. And it's everyone who may be beginning their careers in the grain industry, and this will be their first show, and they haven't been involved, all the way up to people who've been veteran and have worked their way up into various levels of responsibility. They are all at this show, and they're all talking to one another and meeting up and learning new things about the grain industry, about the products that are available.
Now, I know we have a global presence in terms of attendance. How many countries have been represented in the past?
So in looking at the last 6 years, we clearly in the 2021 and 22 show had less international attendees because of restrictions. But in the last 6 years, we've had 40 countries represented at GEAPS Exchange, and every continent except for Antarctica, which I believe does not grow any grain. So we have a pretty vast presence of representation at our exchange.
Great news to hear. I'm looking forward to having a global presence here in 2023. Now I want to bring in Adrienne Fierstadt-Miller. Adrienne, GEAPS Exchange is taking place at the Kansas City Convention Center on February 25th through 28th. Could you share some insights on the transportation and hotel logistics?
Certainly. So let's start maybe with hotels. We have a block for our exchange attendees at 3 different properties. So this will get you a discounted room rate at one of these 3 hotels. The options are Marriott, Lowe's, or Crowne Plaza. And I can quickly go through the benefits of each. I think they're all great options. It just depends sort of, what you're looking for, what your needs are. So the Marriott is our host hotel, and that means that we have the largest number of rooms in our block at that hotel. So if your desire is really to be around the most exchange attendees when you're not in the convention center, the Marriott is a great choice. It is also only a couple of blocks away from the convention center. I don't even know if I would say 2 blocks away. It might be just a block and a half. You can see the center right when you step out the front door of the Marriott. So very easily walkable. So that is a great choice. Another hotel in our block is the Lowe's. What's cool about the Lowe's is that it's a brand new facility. They built this hotel just 2 years ago, and it's connected to the convention center. So if you are looking for convenience and not having to ever go outside in between the hotel and the center, the Lowe's might be a great choice for you. And then last but not least, we've got the Crown Plaza, which is our most budget-friendly option. Also very convenient, just a couple of blocks away from the convention center. So that is an excellent choice as well if you are wanting to be a little bit more budget conscious with your hotel choice. So that's kind of it for those. You can make your reservation while you register. When you're going through the registration process, you'll come to a page where it will ask you if you want to book a room. You'll do that at that time. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always contact GEAPS staff, and we're happy to assist.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for sharing. Can you share any other insights in regards to transportation?
Yes. If you are flying into Kansas City, there are a couple of options for you. There is actually a bus route from the airport right to the convention center area. It is free. So if you don't mind a 45-minute ride, that bus route from the airport could be a great option for you. There's always taxis, Ubers, Lyfts, and that's probably around a 20-minute drive between the airport and the center. If you are driving in for the convention, the parking is really simple. The convention center has a ramp with ample parking spaces. So you'll be able to park in that ramp and then easily get to the center where all the GEAPS Exchange happenings are located.
All right. That's pretty thorough. Thanks for adding that. I know that can help out a lot of people as they think about this. I imagine a lot of people are going to listen to this show when it's released, but it's a good show to listen yourself and share with others as they start coming in, and maybe things about transportation, other things will help them out. So thank you for that. A couple other things I wanted to ask you. I know there's a number of reasons why you may want to, or an attendee may want to arrive early for exchange, right? There is a lot of great places to visit in Kansas City. You may want to meet up with members of your team or connect with others in the grain industry, some other professionals in advance of exchange. What are some recommendations and opportunities to take advantage of during their visit to Kansas City? What do you recommend?
Yeah, so Kansas City really is a fun spot for entertainment, dining, nightlife. I think everybody kind of knows that Kansas City is synonymous with barbecue. So there is no shortage of really great barbecue restaurants close to the convention center, as well as, maybe just short Uber drives away. So if you're really interested in barbecue, there are plenty of resources. And actually, on our exchange website, we do have a page that's linked that gives you a lot of information about dining and entertainment. So if you're on the exchange website and you hover over the exchange tab, there is a travel button that will pop up in a drop-down menu. And then if you just click on Explore Kansas City, it will give you a wealth of information about dining options, entertainment. There's some great museums in Kansas City. One of them that I toured was the college basketball experience. Even if you are not into basketball, that is just a cool museum. The way they've laid that out, very interactive. It's a really well done museum. There's an area in downtown called the Power and Light District, which is a fabulous entertainment area walkable from the convention center and our hotels that we've got blocks at. You will not have a shortage of any nearby options for you. If you don't ever want to get into a car once you arrive in Kansas City, you'll be able to experience a lot of fun dining and entertainment just on foot if that's what you want to do.
Wow, that's a great overall examination of things to do in Kansas City. And just one more thing, you mentioned the basketball museum. What was the name of that again?
The college basketball experience, they call it.
Great. And GEAPS Exchange is at the end of February. So I am very knowledgeable of what's coming up next in college basketball, March Madness. So that might be very attractive, especially the timing of the college basketball tournament for those who are interested in that in the United States here. And here's Chuck Kunish adding his thoughts on all the great things that you can do within Kansas City.
Well, barbecue, all you got to do is say Kansas City. I know many of our employees at MAC are already signing up and lining up, and we're figuring out where we're going to go to eat as a group and with maybe some of our vendors, because you just can't, there's no place you can beat Kansas City barbecue.
That's right. Right. Known from all over the world.
And the Power and Light District there in Kansas City, there's so much within walking distance from an entertainment standpoint. At night, there's just so many things you can do. It's a great time and always enjoyable.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So now we have how you can register online in advance of the event, how you can get there, different modes of transportation, things you can experience before that. Now, let's take people in the door. All right. I'm going to bring Deb back in the conversation here. We're talking about the event. They're walking in.
The process is quite easy. It is, as we talked about, registering online is probably preferred. It's quicker, it's faster, and our online registration will be opened all the way through Exchange. So if you wake up on Sunday morning and say, I want to go to Exchange, just register on your phone, you show up, and then when you get there, you'll have an email confirmation. You can scan and your badge will print out, or you can just type your name in and your badge will print out. So there is a really easy process that is less than a minute once you get to registration online and get to the machine. If you are a full attendee who registered and are coming to get acquainted party, you would get your drink tickets there. You get drink tickets for the welcome reception on Sunday night, and you pick up your lanyard. And at that moment, you can go. You will have a little scanner, a QR code on your badge so that you'll be scanned into different education sessions you go to, as well as be scanned in by exhibitors. If you talk to one exhibitor or you're really interested in the product, they can scan your badge so they can do some follow-up information with them. So it is a really simple, easy process. If you want to buy tickets for the Get Acquainted Party, those of you who are coming to Expo only or one day, you can certainly do that too at the Exchange. We hope you stop by Convention Center first thing, say hi, get your badge, and then you'll be sent off on your way. The other thing that might be very helpful is to download our mobile app, which we'll be releasing in January. Download before you come. This will give you a chance to see all the exhibitors on the list, as well as all the sessions, and mark what sessions you want to go to. That is something that we'll announce as we get close to the Exchange, and that will help you plan your days during the Exchange.
Very exciting. All right. I can just visualize attendees coming on in. It's nice to know it's a smooth process. Now, GEAPS Exchange has so much to offer, including the education sessions, the panel discussion, idea exchange, innovation station, grain entrapment rescue, and of course, the big show floor. But first, let's explore the networking opportunities. There are so many special events we have planned during Exchange. Let's start with Brittany. Brittany is our sales and conference manager. Brittany, can you share with our listeners some of the assortment of fun opportunities to connect? And actually, let's start with the Mixer on Saturday, February 25th, 6 to 7 p.m.
I would love to. So as Jim, you said, our events sort of start on Saturday before education and the expo open on Sunday. The very first event is the Mixer. This is new this year, but we did used to have this in the past. It is specifically for first-time attendees and exhibitors, as well as international attendees and exhibitors. And it's just an hour-long, more of an intimate, small event where you can come and get acquainted with each other, as well as some GEAPS organization leaders, as well as some veteran exchange attendees. So it's just a laid back atmosphere that you can come and just feel welcome, get to know the event before we dive in on Sunday. Directly following that, we have the fun Get Acquainted Party. This is probably our biggest event and most attended. This year, it's going to be really fun. It's a speakeasy theme. So be sure to register in advance because we will be having a special way to get into this event. It will be a really good time. That event is from 7 to 10 on Saturday, and you really don't want to miss that. Sunday morning, we kind of start off with a bit of some fun wellness, a little jaunt around Kansas City. It's a 5K. It's a fun little way to get around the city. We'll map out a route for you, meet in the Marriott lobby around 6 a.m. The group will take off and kind of finish around 7 a.m. And it's a good way to start the conference on the right foot. So be sure to get there. You don't need a ticket or anything like that for that event. The mixer, I should say, is free to those first-time attendees and international. And then the Get Acquainted party is part of the full registration, or it can be purchased a la carte. So those are kind of the very first events that happen. And then I'm going to kind of pass it off to Betsy, who's going to talk about Sunday morning.
On Sunday, February 26th, we start our education program off with our keynote speaker, Dan Knassen. We are very excited to have him joining us. He's remarkable. He is a survivor, a Navy SEAL lieutenant commander, and a 7-time Paralympic medalist. He has a powerful presentation that he's sharing with us on persistence, passion, and perspective. So we're really excited about that. It's really the introduction to the education program.
Great way to kick things off. Very exciting. And then we have the GEAPS Young Professionals Get Together, and that's taking place on Sunday, February 26th from 4:30 to 6 p.m. at the Convention Center Expo Hall. Deb, can you talk a little bit about what that's all about?
There's a lot of new professionals coming to the industry. They are starting to connect with each other, and it's a big show, so it's hard to connect with other young professionals in such a big space. So during our welcome reception, we kind of open up the booth area up for anybody who is wanting to network with other young professionals. And we let everyone decide what a young professional is. Our age is relative, we've learned. And all it is to stop by the booth and meet some other people, try to make you connections. Because one of the things that you will note about GEAPS when you're there are people who've known each other 20, 30 years. They see each other maybe once or twice a year at GEAPS events, and they've been really supportive. And we want to try and build those relationships for the future generations.
I like it. So much is offered. It's about connecting and developing relationships, because when you do that, you have trust. And when you have trust, you can get your questions answered. You can help people. And one of the ways that when I saw this on there and being new to GEAPS here, this will be my first GEAPS Exchange, and I saw cornhole tournament. Deb, what's that all about?
This will be mainly through chapters. So if you're part of a chapter, talk to your chapter leaders about having a team represent. But we're going to have this cornhole tournament throughout the exchange, with the culmination being the championship round at noon on Tuesday of the exchange. Last year when we did this for the first time, we noticed that it was a great way for people to connect with each other. Competitors were connecting with each other. People who were watching were connecting. There's nothing like cheering on a team to really get people engaged. So we'll have a cornhole tournament at the GEAPS booth throughout the expo. Come in, drop by, cheer for your chapter, cheer for another chapter, and maybe meet some of the other members in this casual, laid-back setting.
I love it. All right. Thank you. And now we'll bring back our conference and expo director, Adrienne. We have this big welcome reception. Can you talk about when it is, what time it is, and then all the details related to that?
Yeah, so I'm happy to elaborate more on this. The welcome reception takes place on Sunday from 4:30 to 6 p.m. It is inside the expo hall. So if you are in the expo hall at that time, you are welcome to partake in this. There is no additional ticket that you need. So Sunday, is our first day that the expo is open. It is the longest day for the expo. So if you have been, visiting with exhibitors all day long, by the time 4:30 rolls around, you might be ready to have an appetizer and a beverage. So what we end up doing is we have multiple stations in the expo hall where we bring out some delicious appetizers, and then we set up bars all throughout the expo hall floor. So if you want beer, wine, soda, or you just want to grab a bottle of water, you are welcome to that. And it's just a great way to wind down the first day of expo, a casual environment. You can continue to mingle and network with exhibitors and the people that you have met that day.
Now that sounds like fun, I have to admit. All right. The closing celebration and reception, we'll have both Brittany and Betsy kind of speak on that.
Exchange is going to end on a fun note with strongman Eric Moss. He's a world record holder, speaker, and author. He's also an unlikely strongman at 5'7" and 155 pounds who has spent years honing in on these abilities. You'll get to see Eric fold frying pans, break cinder blocks, and he will speak to us about the power in all of us. It's a really great way to close out Exchange, and will be followed up with a closing reception from 3 to 5 p.m.
Yeah, and that reception will be right outside the closing celebration. So it's an easy event that you can get to. It's open to everyone. The full attendees and exhibitors and Tuesday full days will get drink tickets, but everyone is welcome. And that's just going to be a fun little farewell open house type event where people can say goodbye and then see you next year.
Oh, that's exciting. When I asked first-time attendee April Hope-Worm if attending GEAPS Exchange has had a positive impact in the growth of her network within the grain industry, here's what she had to say.
Absolutely. So I think there's something to be said. There were people that I met at GEAPS Exchange who I had been talking to via email or via Microsoft Teams for years. And I met them for the first time in person. And there's something to be said for that in-person meeting. Going to like have a beer with somebody or just sit down and talk face to face, that cannot be done otherwise. And it helps to make those bonds a little bit stronger, makes it a little bit more comfortable when you need to contact them again for something else. It has also kind of helped me or other people to get to know me, right? So I've had a couple folks reach out to me to ask questions as well since GEAPS Exchange. And, rather than saying, okay, yeah, here's a person whose name I've seen on an email a couple of times, it just makes it that much easier to reach out to get to know someone.
We'll be back after a quick break.
GEAPS Training and Education Program is proud to release Introduction to Grain Operations. This new course is a multimedia version of what was known as GEAPS 500 with dynamic graphics, video examples, photographs, multidimensional illustrations, animations, and interactive exercises. This course is sure to prepare your teams for the work you need them to do. This is a great industry primer at a great price. For a limited time, GEAPS members may purchase the course for just $195. Non-members still save and pay just $295. For more information, visit GEAPS.com. The formal and the informal networking opportunities that arise at Exchange and are planned for Exchange are unmatched. Here's Chuck Kunish's take on networking at Exchange.
It's hard to explain what I've got out of it. What I say is, over the years with my cell phone, I can be asked a question just about anything in the grain industry, and I'm sure I probably don't know it. There's a lot of people smarter than I am, but I can contact those people probably immediately or very shortly to get that information that I need or our company needs. The networking from that, and it spreads beyond the grain industry. It spreads to all facets of life. The people that you meet, network with, and become friends with. It's been invaluable, I know, to me, and many of the other people that are involved in GEAPS have expressed the same thing.
Sort of like a second family they generate over time.
It really is.
That's awesome to hear.
And, you can't just go and stand in the middle of the trade show and you'll assimilate it. You have to work at talking to those people, picking their brains, finding what information they have, committing somewhat of who you've talked to and about what, who has a skill set that you might need, so you can follow up with them in the future. I know I've had to get a business card reader to hook up to my computer so I could just scan all the business cards in over the years because it got so cumbersome to actually keep the cards. Even in a Rolodex and things like that. I ended up having to go to my second Rolodex, and I said, this is ridiculous, and got that business card reader just to be able to keep all those people straight. And I know my company, they've kidded about it that whatever comes up or we're dealing with or a problem or questions, they can ask me and I'll say, just a minute, let me make a phone call and I can start getting answers.
And Steve Myers adds a similar comment.
It's generally about 2 phone calls and you can find an answer. You take your best guess, and if that guy doesn't know the answer, he knows someone that does. And everybody's very willing to share. So I guess that's the thing I've learned about it. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone and give somebody a call and find out, how are they handling this, or, what are you guys doing? Or it's just, you meet a lot of friends and good people along the way.
So lots of opportunities here for networking and some great openers and closers for the event. Let's talk about now educational offerings. What's also exciting is attendees at GEAPS Exchange is the access to 45 hours of education. And to share insights on education at GEAPS Exchange, we welcome Betsy Polis, Senior Project Manager at GEAPS. Betsy, there is so much to talk about. So excited about what you and the committee have planned. Please share with our whole grain listeners all the exciting things about the education sessions.
First off, all the education is made possible by the hard work of the Exchange Educational Programming Committee. This is just such a hardworking committee who really puts their time and energy into making sure that we consistently have a strong, robust education program, and this year is just no different. One thing that is exciting this year is that we have 4 individual tracks of education: maintenance, employee development, safety, and grain operations. The tracks are planned so that you can attend all the sessions in one or mix and match throughout the 4 as you go. Tracks will start on Sunday afternoon in the Expo Hall, innovation stations, and then they'll run Monday and Tuesday, February 27th and 28th with multiple session options. There's just so many great presenters this year covering a plethora of topics. I don't have time to speak to all of them here, but our website can. So I definitely encourage everyone listening to check those out. We also have a page on our website that is specifically developed to gain a deeper understanding of these tracks. They will show you the summary, some of the outcomes of what you'll get if you attend all the sessions, and the ideal audience. So if you really just don't know where to start, I highly recommend this page on our website, and we'll make sure to link it in the show notes.
Betsy, so how do the innovation stations fit into the education tracks this year?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. So these innovation stations, in the past, we usually would pick one topic of education in the Expo Hall. This year, each station has its own unique theme. So the EPC has really worked to tailor them to the tracks. For example, you'll be able to go to the employee development track in the Expo Hall, and there will actually be an HR help desk set up where you can go and ask questions that you might have for your organization. The maintenance innovation station, now that one's probably a little more like you've seen in the past. It's just going to be packed with hands-on training. We've got correct installation and troubleshooting of mechanical components, belt maintenance, drag conveyor maintenance, dust collector troubleshooting, and screw conveyor maintenance. So you can just go there, really get some hands-on training within that station. There will be equipment demonstrations in the grain operations track. And the last station is the safety innovation station. And this is just highly valuable. We will have a lot of great topics related to fall protection, hazard monitoring, combustible dust explosion protection. And one I'm excited about is a response of first responders to a facility. We're really working on developing that one right now and excited to be able to offer it.
And here's April sharing her insights on the educational sessions.
The education sessions, I think, I'm going to bring those out because I'm on the EPC, which is the Education Programming Committee. But those are fantastic. It is so cool how many people know so much about this industry and the little niche parts of it and are willing to come in and share that with folks. Everything from having a session on, like last year, one of our really popular sessions was why bearings fail, right? And, you think you know, something like that when you've worked in the industry for a decade or more, right? But you're going to learn something new at every one of those sessions. And then on top of that, we also had sessions for helping with your personal development, helping with your employees, helping with kind of the way that the industry is going, because there are changes that are happening in the industry, right? So there are opportunities to learn new things, see new things.
That's great. Then there are some things such as like an innovation station. Do you remember that? Can you tell our listeners maybe a little bit about what that's about?
Yeah, absolutely. So the innovation stations used to be known as the pods. So if you were at GEAPS more than a couple of years ago, you would have known them as pods. They're the same thing, though. They are actually in the expo hall. So you're able to kind of walk by and go and visit as you please. They're shorter sessions. They're not as long as one of your regular education sessions, which would be 45 minutes to an hour. They're a little bit shorter, and they are hands-on. So you get to play with stuff, whether that be you get to play with some new fall protection that's out there. You get to learn about a new type of rail car and kind of experience that with a more of a hands-on aspect. I know we did have a session on drones last year. We were not allowed to fly the drone inside the building, but got to kind of play around with things regardless. So it's the hands-on session. This year with the innovation stations, we actually have a maintenance specific track as well that's geared toward folks who are newer to the industry and will have the opportunity to play around with maintenance tasks as well in an environment that's safe and where you're not going to mess something up. So that should be a lot of fun.
I know panels have been a big hit in the past. Are we offering panels this year?
Yes, we are offering 2 panels. One is the maintenance and reliability panel. I have to say that the Exchange Educational Programming Committee is the most excited about this one. Like when we are talking about all the education, they are just so excited about this maintenance and reliability panel. We have 3 panelists lined up: John Brown from MKC, Craig Frayling from Cargill, and Jeremy Davis from ADM. They're 3 great maintenance professionals who will be discussing a lot of everyday reliability issues at their facilities. And it'll be very interactive, just like all the panels we've offered. So very excited about that one. Plenty of time for a question and answer. The other one that we are offering this year is a panel discussion on practical strategies to reduce stress, prevent burnout, and promote overall well-being. We have head coach from I Thrive 31. Her name is Doreen McVeigh. She is well-versed in the topic of well-being and emotional health, and she will facilitate this panel to explore how leaders are facing challenges for themselves and their employees. We have a really great lineup of panelists for that as well, working on fine-tuning those details. So I encourage you to check out the website for that lineup.
Wow, Betsy, that is just amazing. What depth and scale there is to offer professionals in the green industry. It's just amazing. Very exciting. Now let's look at the trade show floor. We'll bring back in Adrienne and Brittany to talk about that. I mean, GEAPS Exchange is the best place to find grain handling and processing operations and solutions all in one place. It's an opportunity to connect with the products and the services you need. You have access to suppliers and vendors from all over the world. And to get you excited about the experience, Brittany and Adrienne, can you talk about this immense trade show floor that is available to grain professionals at Exchange?
Yeah, so as we've mentioned already, the Expo Hall opens on Sunday after the keynote and idea exchange. This year we have quite a large floor plan, and we have over 70,000 square feet of booth space. So lots to see. We're looking at having over 350 exhibitors this year, all ranging in different categories of products and services. Just a few to mention. We have, of course, the cleaning, sorting equipment. We have consultants. We have maintenance, repair, and salvage. We even have transportation and some publications that they're all just waiting to meet everybody and have some conversation and really help you be successful in your career and in the industry. So it's a great time to walk through the hall and have some conversation with people.
Now, the vendors and suppliers of the grain handling and processing industry are so critical, so important, and they attend Exchange in incredible numbers. So it's just a unique opportunity. Steve Myers talks all about the importance of vendors in the grain industry and at GEAPS Exchange.
Yes. Yeah. The vendors are a very critical role. I mean, everybody's got their little favorites or, like it's about like Ford versus Chevy or whatever. And they got good points and bad points of both. Well, the vendors are real good about explaining, why use my bucket elevator. I've had some of them tell me that, hey, you may want to look at my neighbors over here. That to me, they're honest, good people. They try and steer you in the right direction and help you out as much as they can. They all love to answer questions, like for you to ask questions, very knowledgeable in what they're talking about.
Chuck Vollmer, producer, was overjoyed by the trade show floor.
I thought it was a real clean layout. The people were really nice, and the exhibits were just something that were real neat to look at. I really liked what was on the floor because it was stuff that I could use as a small farmer, and it went clear up to stuff that was stuff I'd never seen or knew how an elevator even worked.
Another feature in the expo hall that is not to be missed is the grain entrapment rescue demo. That takes place on the show floor near the GEAPS booth. We have an area set up where Oklahoma State University has been kind enough to come in for the past several years and provide us with a life-saving demonstration where they bring in a big trailer and they've got grain bin simulation where they lower somebody into, it's not actually grain, I believe it's little plastic pellets to simulate grain, but they lower someone in as if they've been entrapped, and then they demonstrate how you would rescue someone in that situation. So really, really important life-saving training, and it's been really well received, and we're very thankful that Oklahoma State has been willing to come back year over year to provide this for us. And the grain entrapment rescue demonstration will take place every day that the expo hall is open, Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday. So be sure to check the schedule so you are there in the expo hall during one of those demonstration times. You will be glad that you witnessed that.
Like so many others who attend GEAPS Exchange, the grain bin extraction is one of the highlights for sure. Here's Steve and Mike.
Safety is the number one. We're all wanting to go home, send everybody home safe at the end of the day, just like they came to work. So there's a lot of good safety educational programs out there. The grain engulfment that's on the floor. Well, last year was the first year I got my whole crew. We shut the elevator down for a day and took them all down there. Well, that was one of their main jobs, was to get to one of the grain engulfment demonstrations and watch it. That was on their task. And they all came back, and, there was stuff that they showed that they never thought about before even.
We did go to the grain bin extraction demonstration, which was pretty awesome.
All right, I can chime in here with some more details about the expo hall as well. I think Betsy mentioned that she was talking about all the educational offerings, but besides all the wonderful exhibiting companies, you'll also find education in the hall. So we have, the different innovation stations, and those sessions will be going on throughout the expo hall hours. We will actually make announcements over the PA system. So there'll be a schedule that you can access from the Exchange app. We'll also have an at-a-glance schedule that you can pick up at registration that will give you, the exact times of when things are happening in the expo hall. And we'll also make those PA announcements. One other thing that might be good to note is that we do provide lunch every day in the expo hall. So if you are inside the expo hall, that is included for you. You do not have to purchase that separately. So, don't feel like you need to leave the expo hall to get some food. We will provide that for you so you can continue your day in the expo. We also this year have partnered with U.S. Commercial Service Department, which falls under the umbrella of the International Trade Administration. And we've partnered with them in a program they have called the Trade Event Partnership Program. And they use their network around the world to help market our event to potential international attendees. So we are excited to welcome them. They will actually have a booth space on the expo hall floor right next to the GEAPS booth. So the international attendees will sort of have a home base where they can go, and we're going to be happy to assist them in finding exhibitors with products and services that they're interested in. One other cool thing about being part of this program is that they will do export counseling for our exhibitors. So if you are an exhibitor and don't sell internationally, but that's something that you want to learn more about, you might be interested in doing, the folks from the Trade Event Partnership Program will be in their booth to answer questions for you about how you might begin to explore some exporting of your goods and services. They're also going to have a session called Export 101. It will be a session within our education tracks. So if you really want more in-depth information, be sure to attend Export 101. And then you can always set up an appointment to meet with them in their booth for more one-on-one export counseling. So we're excited to have that available this year in the expo as well.
Wow, there is so much packed into this event. Just amazing. Thank you all for your work in the behind the scenes scene of making this all happen. I'm just curious if there's still an opportunity for vendors and suppliers to showcase their products and services at GEAPS Exchange. And if so, how would they go about doing that?
Yes, we do still have some booths available. We are about 90% sold out though. So if you are interested, be sure to contact us. You can view a current floor plan and some pricing information and other really important information for exhibiting on our website. Go to GEAPS.com/exchange, look under the exhibitors tab and become an exhibitor. And it'll have all the information there. If you can't find it, feel free to email us. You can email us at conferences@GEAPS.com, and one of us with GEAPS staff will get back to you as soon as we're able, and we can assist you to get a booth. We'd love to have you. And Jim, I would be remiss if I didn't mention our current sponsors and our sponsor program. We have a lot of amazing companies that really support GEAPS Exchange through the sponsorship program. If you're not able to attend or you're not able to get a booth, this is also a really awesome opportunity for your company and your brand to get in front of the attendees and the grain professionals. So be sure to check out the sponsorship program. You can find this also on that website at GEAPS.com/exchange. There are lots of options to meet any budget, any marketing goal that you have. And if you're an attendee and you're walking the show floor, please say thanks to those sponsors because they really do a lot to make this event happen. And we're so thankful that they support GEAPS and they're a wonderful partner to our organization.
Yes, we want to thank those sponsors so much. Thank you for expressing that, Brittany. Great information. Thank you, Brittany. I want to thank all of our guests today, GEAPS staff, and also those past attendees to help enrich the show. Thanks for being so helpful, informative, and getting our GEAPS whole grain listeners so excited for the biggest and best show in the grain industry. We wanted to provide an easily accessible resource for you to prepare for GEAPS Exchange. Be sure to share this episode of Whole Grain with your network. It might even be fun to listen again during your travel to Exchange. Such a unique opportunity that is held just once every year. I know the buzz around Exchange is incredibly high. People are excited to come together after the tremendous hit the world has had with COVID. And it's more than that. The grain industry is full of incredible innovators and thought leaders. It's just a very nice and supportive community to be part of. It's like your second family. And just like we've seen and heard actually in past whole grain episodes, you'll begin to quickly understand how the whole collection and minds of the industry can best support you and your organization. people and organizations want to support you, the education and networking opportunities that are available to you is unmatched in this industry here at GEAPS Exchange. Grow your family and grow your network. Adrienne, any closing words you want to say about GEAPS Exchange before we conclude?
I think that was a really great summary you just gave. I guess for me, this will be my 15th exchange. And I think about how every year it feels different to me. And I know that whether you are also approaching, your 15th year, there is always value because, there is always new education. There are always new people to network with. There's always new products and equipment. So I think that's what's really cool about Exchange. Even though we do have it every year and some people have gone many, many times, they always get something out of it. So just really encourage you. And if you haven't been, please join us. We are happy to have you. And as the network grows, knowledge grows. So we are excited to put on this event and we look forward to seeing you at the end of February.
Awesome. Great words, great closing words from a veteran producer of the biggest event in the world in the grain industry. Thank you, Adrienne. And just on behalf of a whole GEAPS team, we thank you for listening for today's show and checking out jeeps.com/exchange and considering attending to this biggest event in the grain industry. Have yourself a wonderful day, and thanks for listening to this episode of Whole Grain.